And before we connect to our MongoDB Atlas account, let's create a .env file. So we can start adding our application's config options. And in order to access them, we'll have to use a package by the name of .env. And therefore, I want to right away install it. And as you can see, I already stopped the server. So let me clear everything here and then copy and paste .env. So now I'm installing the package. Then we want to set up the import in the server. And we're going to go with import.env from .env and then .env config. After that, we'll create a .env file. And just for testing purposes, we're going to go with port 4000, just so we can see whether everything works. And right after we set up .env, I also want to go with .getignore and then add two things, node modules as well as .env, because I don't want this to be added to the source control, essentially when we're pushing this up to the GitHub. And let's, I guess, start in a server. And as a side note, I'm not going to start the server right now. I'm not going to run npm start because every time you do some changes in .env, you need to restart the server anyway. So kind of seems like a waste of my time. So I'm going to go back here to this server. And like I said, looking for .env package. Basically, I'm coming up with a variable right now. It's coming from .env. And then we want right away run the config. So .env and config. So that is going to look for .env file in the root, which is exactly where I'm going to set it up. So I'm going to save it here. Then where I have the server right next to it, I'm going to go with a .env. And then, like I said, I'm just going to test this out with different value for the port. So I'm going to go here for 4000. And yes, eventually we'll add here the connection string as well as JWT secret and pretty much stuff that you already saw as far as the final project. And yes, once we push this up to Heroku, we will have to supply these values. So with this in place, now what we can do is definitely create a getignore. So I'm going to go here with .getignore, which essentially is going to signal which files should be ignored by the source control. And in our case, we want to go with node modules because they're massive. We don't want to push them up. You can always install them using package.json. And second, always add .env if you don't want to expose your variables. Essentially, if you don't want to expose your sensitive data. And once we have everything in place, again, I'll clear my terminal and I'm going to go with npm start. And I don't even need to go to the browser to see that I have port 4000, which means that everything is working. And once we have our .env setup in place, now we can start connecting to MongoDB Atlas account.